Them midget strippers.
What up, CBR fam? How y'all doing this week?
My people,
we glad to
we
be
come
back.
again.
We glad to be back, and we missed y'all.
Yeah. You know, what's
Last week, it's mostly because of me. Last week I was on vacation with my wife. We was in Disneyland, in Universal in SoCal. So yeah, we weren't gonna really be able to do a show.
Travis was out there with
But
the
yeah,
weird
I'm
people.
glad to be back this week. Kino. Oh man, there's hella weird people. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this if nobody ever told y'all, because uh, nobody ever really says this. But Disneyland, the hardest thing about getting around Disneyland is super fat people in scooters. That is the hardest part about getting around Disneyland is trying to get around super fat people in scooters.
What up, Diddy? You know,
That is the hardest part about it.
whatever.
It's
These are the fat people
it's
on scooters.
it's expensive. Listen, bro. Listen, it was at one point in time right where the Cafe Orleans part is,
Yeah.
and like the little waterfront. It was like meeting, so it was like literally thousands of people trying to come together at once. It was some old ass man in a wheelchair getting mad and slamming his cane on the ground because he was upset with people being around him. Just like, bro, you know where the fuck you at? This is fucking Disneyland. This is not Target, bro. It's gonna be
He
thousands of people around you at all fucking
he should have
times,
hit
man.
one
You
of
gotta get
y'all in the
over this.
shin. He should have hit one of
But
y'all in the
yeah,
shin with his
that's
cane.
pretty much it. Nah, bro. Bro, I would have tipped that motherfucker over like a bucket of water. like a bucket of fucking Legos. Just tip
Is
it
it
over.
lagging? Is it lagging on my end, y'all?
Yeah, it's lagging on your end. It was I don't know what was going on.
Is it still
Shit
lagging
was
right
doing
now?
the turtle. it's good right now.
Okay. All right, cool.
Also, man, I was talking to my homie and I showed her that clip of you with the fucking cheese, bro. And she showed me a picture of her $95 block of Parmesan cheese.
Hold on.
And
A
I was
block of
it's
Parmesan cheese?
yeah, and it was only a quarter of a block. It was like 5 pounds and some ounces. And I was
Oh,
like, bro, is motherfuckers out here cheese stunting? Is this a
hey.
fucking thing now? I
I'm gonna
was
tell
like,
her, look.
Keno
Hey, tell her,
started some
look.
shit.
Hey, look. Tell her, look. I'm gonna tell her right now, look. Tell her to step her game up because look, Parmesan cheese do not count. Nobody sit there and eat that over crackers. The only thing you can do is grate that up and put in spaghetti. So tell her to get her cheese game up and tell her come see me. You know, tell her get her cheese game right. If she want to get with the truffle, she want to look, man. I don't even want to go there. You know, so tell her look at my resume. Tell her check the last episode. Look at my cheese resume. Look me up. Google me. YouTube me. You know what I'm saying?
Cheesy
Don't
K?
go there.
She
You know
got
what I'm
to do the
saying?
battle with Cheesy K?
What? You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? We can get real melty. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, also Tuck, because you started some shit. Tuck wants to have a small, convo about garlic bread. We had a small conversation about garlic
Garlic
bread,
bread, Travis.
and I think that I think the best garlic bread is the kind that's like really buttery, but it got a little bit of cheese on top, and where you can dip it in the marinara. That's the best garlic bread to me. I might be wrong.
And what did Tuck? What was Tuck? What was his?
Chuck was in full alignment. He was in full alignment
Okay.
with me on the cheese bread, on the cheesy bread, cheesy garlic bread situation. What's your
See, I
opinion
like the
about
cheesy
garlic?
garlic bread, but I like the cheese. I like the cheese inside the stuff, the breadsticks.
You
Yeah,
like Bosco sticks?
whatever you call it, man. Well, I like that with the garlic on the outside, the garlic seasoning on the outside. I'm rocking with that. You know what I'm saying?
Did you see what Pat said?
What passe? You should have your own cheese line and get them fixed name like lemon blade, Cyclops cheese. You know what I'm saying? The Indonesian cheese,
Yeah.
lemon blade cheese.
Bro, that might actually be a pretty good like cheesy garlic bread recipe with like a lemon herb little spread on top of it.
See, now I might have to trademark something. Now I think I might have to do the. I might have to do. I might have to do the cheese clutch, where I name animals that I raise up from a certain clutch after cheeses.
What the fuck is going on with this show? What the fuck is going on?
Y'all started this.
You started it.
So that's what's called Bosco sticks. All right.
Yeah, it's called Bosco sticks.
I would eat lemon blade for sure. Look, see, I'm telling you, look. Y'all the inspiration. You know, I'm finna write that down. Hold on.
You gonna trademark the you can't trademark a lemon cheese line?
How you can't tell me what I can't trademark?
I guess you can.
Look,
I guess you can.
I'm finna write that down because see, this is what the CBR is for. People like Pat up in here and who else up there coming with the Cyclops cheese? People like y'all. So we gonna do
John Jones. What's up, John Jones?
We got Cyclops.
What up, Brian Fisher? I saw Brian Fisher was in here earlier. Tuck,
Cyclops
we got
cheese.
We got cousin Earl's.
What do you say? Lemon Earl's
garlic. Cheese? Hey, garlic Parmesan fries always hit. It always hit. We got tradesmen in the house. We got our sponsor Chris from Innerbox. We're gonna show you a commercial.
Hey, but don't kill me, y'all. Don't kill me, y'all. But I'm not a heavy garlic person though. I can do garlic in small doses. Nah, I think I'm a vampire or something, dog. I don't like, you know. It be smelling weird when I be sweating. You know.
So what you saying is the vampire in Brooklyn had a baby and left it in Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be preaching outside on the balcony. In the balcony. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
but I'm not gonna kill nobody's sister.
Is Tuck gonna be your little ghoul with like his little fingers and skin falling off?
Yeah. Tuck is. He's trying to sell everybody ball pythons. Look at this pin puzzle. Head crypto.
But anyway, back to some snake related stuff. We didn't get any submissions for Chondro Classifieds this week, but we are still gonna do the giveaway tonight. So we still got that going tonight, and the giveaway
we got a giveaway.
Shout out to our sponsor. From our sponsor Chris. We are showing this commercial right now. Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, I like that because it sound like some badass kids beating on pots and then getting dropped in water.
The pots are the kids.
I don't know. For YouTube purposes, we're gonna say the pot.
I got nothing for this week to add. I'm just getting my life back together from being on vacation. My legs hurt, and I'm drinking a 40. Just so y'all know, wow. It's one of them days. I'm drinking.
He got a 40 ounce of malt liquor, so what the cook is. We get at night.
Keto, you got anything for tonight?
Yeah, if I can for a minute, a couple things. It's the holiday season, and what I would like for y'all to do is, for the people who lost relatives around this time, and for veterans, we know it's hard for people like that around this time of the year, and the holidays at home, especially Christmas for certain people. So, just like y'all loved ones, they in our hearts. Especially mine, man. My granddaddy's birthday be a couple days, so Christmas is always weird. It's been weird for me for about what, about 12 years now, something like that. Maybe 13 years. So for our veterans, all that. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And Christmas is not really all about the gifts sometimes, man. It's people that lost people, and you gotta get them their flowers. I know we here for y'all.
And be kind. Be kind during this season with people. You never know what people are going through. It's been a rough year. I know that a lot of people, the inflation and the economy is hit. So like I know that, that, and plus, just a normal wear and tear of life has hit some people. So just be kind to people. Like if somebody, is going through something, you can give them 5-10 minutes to talk, have a conversation with them. Sometimes you never know how much that means to a person. But if you got time to volunteer or you got time to reach out to other people, like do that. But yeah, that's all I got on that note.
For sure. Man, I'm excited for the show tonight. Yeah, Pat, man. Rest in peace to your pops,
Yeah, listen. Christmas was my dad's favorite holiday. He was a big Christmas person. I'll tell y'all a story before he breaks Sony on. So my dad's, if you see like the Christmas videos that we put up, and those songs, like most of those songs were Temptations' Christmas album. If you black, you were probably raised with that damn album. But my dad had that album on vinyl.
On the vinyl with the vinyl.
He used to play it as soon as Thanksgiving came around. That's all you hear in the house every fucking day. When he get off work, he put that shit on, start dancing around, just like, bro, like,
sound like
chill
my
out.
Damn granddaddy, man.
Can you chill out for a second? So one year for Christmas, after we put the Christmas stuff up, I was tired of that fucking album, and I took some shit and I just fucked that album up. And like I forgot about it until Christmas came around next year. That album was skipping like a motherfucker. It was done for. Yo, the look on his face he was so sad. And when I saw his face,
cold-blooded.
When I saw his face, I felt really sad too. I was like, man, I really fucked up.
You didn't ruin Black Christmas.
I did. I ruined Black Christmas. So like we didn't have an album for the rest of the Christmas season. And then next year I came home one day and that shit was playing. I was just like, I thought I killed you. I thought I fucking killed you.
That vinyl game like that, I'm taking on your ass. I'm back.
And I was just like, I thought the album was messed up. And he was just like, no. He was just like, I found it. He's like, they got the double CD. And I was like, fuck. But that's my Christmas story about my dad.
You're an idiot, man.
Yeah, I'm fucking. I was an awful kid. I was a bad fucking kid.
You're just bad.
But we gonna bring in the guest Sony. A while ago, Ken Deal was telling me I need to link up with Sony, and Pat told me I needed to link up with Sony, and we did. And we linked up with a while ago. It just took a while to get this show to happen, and it's happening now. So
because we kept running to Zenith. Sorry, I'm sorry.
But y'all show some love. Y'all show some love to Sony Raju.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on, Sony?
Oh, Sony.
I had to put on my reading glasses so I can see what y'all are typing.
It's not that bad. Usually it starts out with a bunch of nonsense, but it's not that bad. So I had to put on my glasses too. I had to take my contact lenses out. So Keno said I look like a professor earlier. You look like a professor, and Keno looks like that administrator that you can never find. Yeah.
I'm the cool gym teacher. That's all.
Take off your glasses. Let me see. Take off your glasses all the way off. You got the face of a cool ass janitor. With a toothpick. You need to go get a
Hey, look.
toothpick.
And a toothpick and a hoop earring and a hoop.
Yeah.
You
Listen,
fool,
y'all
man.
kids better stay in school and stop smoking weed in the janitor's closet. I got to
Yeah.
work out of here.
It's my job.
I smoke weed out of the janitor's closet. You're ridiculous.
I'm just playing.
No, he's not. He's not lying. But Sony, we're glad to have you on tonight. Well, first we want to let you do your introduction. Tell the people about yourself, where you're from, where you started, and we'll just go on from there.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm Sony Raju. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been into reptiles probably for the past 30 years or so. I got into chondros in about 98 or 99, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been kind of a love-hate thing throughout the years. And I've gone through cycles with them and getting back into them. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
We're glad to have you. So growing up, how'd you get into reptiles growing up?
But hold on, how did you get the beard? How did you get the beard to perfectly transition from like the black to the gray? Because it's not abrupt. It's like a slow fading transition that I would like to do that when I get older. I would like to emulate that.
It's called maybe if y'all kept lineage charts, y'all could figure that out.
You think we keep lineage charts on our grandfather's facial hair?
Okay, all right, cool. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see what they facial charts look like.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
My granddaddy was a mean ass drunk, so
I do keep lineage charts though. By the way, I do keep that. I'm the lineage nerd though. I do that.
Okay, good deal.
But yeah, tell us about your first foray into reptiles growing up, and how it progressed over the years.
It's a funny story how that worked, because my mom says that when we used to go to trips to India, the first thing my dad would do when plane landed was take me to the snake charmers, and that started when I was a real little kid, and I guess it started there and progressed to, I've kept a little bit of everything throughout the years, I would say, except for really ball pythons. But I don't like to have a whole bunch of different types of animals at once. I mean, so it's a new foray for me right now to have 6 or 7 different kinds of or species. So I guess I'm going backwards in my old age and going from keeping one thing to 100 things at once.
Yeah, that's a real midlife crisis thing that you explain right there. So I got to keep it all now.
And you're probably more right than wrong.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't even know. I don't even want to know what I'm going to be doing at 40. 45. It's probably gonna be some wild shit. It's probably gonna be some people that's gonna be real upset, and I don't even know what it is yet.
Collecting money.
What you say?
Collecting money.
You been clocking math? But I got a question for you, Sony. So, did you get to spend time in India, going to like the mangroves in India, seeing those snakes?
Yeah, we got to do a lot of things like that. We'd go every other summer and we'd stay there for a month.
Wow.
So we got to see a lot of different stuff, from tigers to king cobras and everything in between.
Wow.
They were really cool.
So y'all saw them interacting with the tiger?
No, we couldn't interact with them. We were a little bit away. We just got to see them.
Okay, all right.
That's Thailand that they got them drugged up that you can go pet.
That sounds like some Thailand stuff right there.
That's cool growing up in India, though. That's nice. Summer trips to India, man.
That does sound cool.
It's cool, but it's hot. I mean, you got to remember, this is like the 80s and the 90s, and there was no air conditioning, so what you got was what you got.
And that was a long flight.
Yeah, it was at that point it was a 23-hour flight.
Whoa. Where'd you have to stop off in somewhere in Europe, like Amsterdam or somewhere?
We'd either go to Germany or London.
Okay.
And then now you can stop in like Dubai and then go from there to India. But they've got straight shots too if you want to go that route.
That sounds long.
It is.
You do lose a whole day though.
Yeah. It's fun though. It's a lot of fun.
When was the last time you went?
2013, and I took my damn Midwest tongs snake hook, and they had so many people there, we didn't see a single snake, and I looked for like 20 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I
wonder why was that. Was it the season?
No, it wasn't the season. I started asking people about that, and they just said people are just killing them. There's just too many people taking up habitat, and where people and snakes clash, I mean, people are going to win, right? So it was kind of that deal. It was pretty sad, though. It was sad.
That is, yeah. Once you really think of it, I had a conversation with somebody, like, it's hard to imagine, like, when I was a kid, like, how many people that really there are. And, like, now everything seems so much more crowded than it did when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just, everything is crowded. But
yeah.
So when you're back in Texas, like, did you look for snakes and play with snakes growing up?
Yes. My mom and dad did not like me to have them, so I had to sneak them under my bed and this and that when I was a kid. And then when I got about 15, I was, I graduated to putting them on my desk and stuff. And at that point, they knew it was. I mean, they couldn't stop it, so that was that.
Yeah.
Wait, so you did never nothing never got loose when they called and had to catch it or anything?
I absolutely had a lot loose. Remember, I was a kid and they were in Tupperware, so they got out quite often.
Sorry,
actually, that's a funny story because about 3 months ago, my mom called me at the office and she's like, "Sony, come home." And I'm like, shit, because I had a whole bunch of baby corns and one of them got out. And I know my mom's deathly afraid of snakes. And then I kept trying to tell my mom, don't worry about it. It must be a snake from outside. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Sony, I'm not stupid." She goes, "This is a pink snake. It didn't come from outside." And I was like, okay, good. But no, I did not all the time.
So you got beat with a wooden spoon a lot as a child, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that was the good old days.
Me too. I used to get beat with a spoon all the time. My mom was not fond of snakes, so she was like, no. But me and my dad, we had our own way of doing things.
Right.
But yeah, so as you got older, as an adult, like once you were probably on your own, did it change a little bit? Did you say I can do whatever I want?
Well, here's what happened. I mean, with the advent, I'm an old dude, remember? So I was around when the internet first started. So about like 97, 98, I'm Googling pictures of snakes and I see really my first chondro. And literally about 6 weeks after that, I bought my first one, and that's all I kept for many years afterwards.
Damn, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So where did you see the first one at? What was it? Where'd you buy your first one from?
It was a Tim Termesi lemon tree, is what it was.
Yeah. And then where you buy it from? You bought a lemon tree?
Tim Termesi, yeah.
That's a crazy first chondro to have.
Yeah, I got one from him, and I think right about the same time I had gotten a Biok from Harlan Wall as well, and those were the two. Or actually, no, it was a sarong, and that was my first two, and it all went from there.
Wow,
how was the?
That's a great start.
It was a great start. I mean, I look at the prices and stuff now. Um, I think back then that Termesi was $1,100, and I had second pick of the litter, or the clutch rather. And I look at
And
prices.
1100 was expensive back then.
Absolutely, it was freaking
Yeah,
expensive.
that was really
expensive. That was big money. That was like your 5-6K these days.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money.
For real.
I mean, now I look back and it's not as much money, but back then, being 18 years old, it was a lot.
Yeah, I would have spent that $1,100 on beer and sneakers.
Yeah, me, it would have been Jordans and Jabos. Jabot with the straps.
You gonna walk around with jeans with straps on them?
Yes, I would have, yes. I would. When I was in high school, yes.
God, that was yeah. I had some Jabos when I was younger.
How'd you find Tim Tamizi? Through MVF?
Through the Chondro forum.
Okay.
Was that a different one?
No, the MV forum.
Okay. No, it's on MVF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it MVF back in those days?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, everybody talked. Back then, I don't think when I first got in, there were any clicks. There were nothing like that. Everybody shared pictures. I mean, you really got to know people. It's not like now where you've got 2 million people. Back then it was like maybe 50 people tops, with maybe 20 people talking mostly every day. So it was great. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, now
it was
it's very
way
different.
smaller than.
Yeah, things were way different.
It's like, I think that sometimes people talk about the price and they're just like, well, there's not a lot of chondros, and like the prices don't go down. Like, nah, bro, there's still a lot of people compared to how it used to be.
Yeah, there is. The prices, I think, are, I mean, you've got to think inflation. You've got to think a lot of different things when it comes to chondros. They're not corn snakes or something that are readily bred and easily bred. So, I mean, I think they should command a higher price.
Pat says that you sold him an incubator in 2010.
Yes, I remember taking it to his house, actually.
Was it full of snakes back then too?
Yes, it was. And there were cages all over the porch. I remember that house quite well, actually.
Oh man, like, I guess not much has changed.
No,
but
he's just moved, so that's about it.
I don't know. Pat says he's got snakes in a bunch of locations. So yeah, Pat's doing it big out here. He's franchising. Oh, he's at something else.
Well, you can. Hey, Pat, mine are about the same. I've got those as well. I've got 9 of them, and that are 20 years old, and they're still going strong as well.
I'm just waiting for a text from Pat saying he wants to get in and kick it with Sony.
Yeah, I still got the sharp horn cages too over here, man. I still got like 2 sharp horn cages that I ain't even open yet. They still in the box.
I mean, honestly, I think back then they were the best cages, and they're made very well. As long as you seal them properly, I don't think you can beat them, really. I mean, you got the focus cubes now, which, I mean, creme de la creme. I love those, but back then we had Neo Deshays, we had.
I was about to say, that's it.
Yeah, we had the Greg Maxwell type melamine ones, and really, sharp ones were about it.
And Sharphorn was what came on after them.
Yeah, a little bit after. A little bit after.
Well,
how did you like seeing just how would you compare not compare, but give me your thoughts on, I guess, just the overall I say access to Chondro information that you all had compared to back then, and the quality of stuff as far as heating and the caging. Compared like now, how honestly can we how we got it kind of sweet.
Yes, y'all have got it way sweeter than we did back then. I mean, we were fighting for information, and you didn't really have very many avenues to find it. It was the Chondro Forum, or it was people talking on King Snake chats. Really, that was about it.
I
Uh,
remember King Snake.
yeah, and back then we thought it was so awesome. I mean, but if I compare it, I mean, it was nothing like it is today. As far as access to Chondro information, you know,
Hmm.
you had to search for it, or you had to know somebody, and that was the one thing Pat was really good with. I mean, the guy was just as smart back then as he is now. So the guy, all you'd have to do is ask him something, and he could regurgitate it straight from his brain.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was cool. There was a lot of people that we got to deal with, but remember, there was about 30, 40 people that really bred, so you're getting the animals kind of from the same people over and over
yeah,
and over, where unless you wanted an import or something like that. Whereas now you have more of a choice as to who you want to deal with, and there's a lot more unknown folks as well. You just got to do your searching.
Yeah,
yeah.
that is really true about how it works now. Um, but transitioning from
Especially on
that,
the import side.
like how did you connect with the community to build your collection? Um, and were you getting mostly designers from people, or were you getting imports a lot of the time? Like what were you doing in that respect?
At first, to be honest with you, I just got on one of those things, kind of like a crackhead, and I just started buying. I mean, literally, there was nothing I didn't have. Whether it be, I just wanted chondros, so I went from like 2 to 20 in like a year, and but it was mostly designers. But I've had my share of uh, locales back then, and I think the locales back then were a lot nicer than what I see now. I mean, whether you're talking about the Merokis or the Biocs, I mean, yeah, we've got nice of all of them now, but I think they were more plentiful back then.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And PNG was open then too, so you
Yes,
had an array of. And that's another thing too. A lot of those animals that found at these lands were PNG animals too,
yeah.
and
Rico did a
that could,
lot of outcrossing with the PNGs, and so yeah, we got to be into chondros at a time where a lot of new stuff, a lot of new people were just coming out, and it was like every day when I opened up the MVF,
What
it
up,
was
Chris?
cool,
yeah.
crazy, cool, crazy.
Rest in peace, Rico.
Chondro. Yeah.
So, um, as you were growing that collection and you were getting imports, how were you setting them up when you were getting them in? Because I know everybody has a different way to set them up.
Well,
Um,
He said, "Do I
quarantine.
give a fuck?" No, I'm
Uh,
sorry. I just saw a Pedro. Bruh, don't put
that's
Pat
your friend,
on.
Sony. That's
Don't
your
put
friend,
Pat.
Sony.
Don't put Pat on right now, dog. I do not
um,
want to see that.
you know, um, what can I
What
say? I mean,
I'm saying,
you've
pull
got
up, man. Pull up.
you've got to quarantine. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a time where I didn't, and I paid for it dearly for any time I decided not to quarantine. Um,
Oh,
which it seems like it's more of a deal now because I mean, hell, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, Nido. I mean, back then, at
Yeah.
first, we didn't know what the hell that was.
yeah.
I mean, for a long time,
No,
or
it's not the
maybe
elephant in the room no more. We definitely we talk about it a lot. Trust me.
okay. Okay, fair enough.
Because we didn't. Because like again, though, we learned from y'all. Like y'all, the science hadn't advanced more. Like a lot of people these days, still they think NATO isn't real.
Oh,
They
it's
think
real.
NATO is they think it's a money scam and a money grab and all that. Because there are two people who, there's one, you know, like a professional entity that's going through university that charges more, and a professional entity that's funded out of somebody's pocket that charges less. And people think both are money grab. And I just sit around and read the stories that, I mean, go back to the stories I was reading on NVF, and especially the information that we get from people that are around and with years under their belt, like you, who tell us about animals that got sick and show all the signs of NIDO. But again, science wasn't around back then, and it hadn't advanced. Y'all didn't know what it was.
Absolutely.
I remember when I first got into chondros. If you it was like if you keep a chondro longer than 3 years, you kept it alive for longer than 3 years. It was like like
Yeah,
you're doing something.
yeah.
you know,
You could pat yourself on the back if you could do that.
for
So,
real,
So
3 years.
so
but
Sony, will you tell us about like Nido back at that period?
okay,
Like
I'll tell you how. I mean, when I had to deal with it first, um, at that point, I had heard rumors. I mean, here and there that people were losing things, but nobody knew why, right? And people started losing collections. I mean, like entire collections. And, I honestly still believe that there were people that knew, but,
Mhm.
the general public did not hear about it. I didn't hear about it till, I mean, way into it. And by that point, I had lost crap. I think in the matter of a month, I lost about 35 chondros.
what?
And I
Oh,
literally,
dog, that's over one chondro a day.
yeah, and I literally would walk into the snake room with a trash can liner because I knew what I was in for. And I got out of chondros. I couldn't look at chondros for a few years after that. So
Man, that
yeah,
had to be so depressing, man. Because I know it was expensive snakes lost.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
know it was.
I mean, I sit here and think about the genetics that all of us old timers had at one point or another. They were the best of the best of the best.
He
Um,
said 35 snakes,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So it's one of those things where we learned really quick though that what it was, or we didn't know the name for it back then, but
But you
we
knew,
knew,
but you knew something was going
yeah,
on.
something was going on because
Yeah.
about that point it started happening to everybody top to bottom for the most part. So I mean, you couldn't tell us it was BS when that's not even. I mean, you can't even argue the fact. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't care who you are. Yeah, maybe something's funded by somebody, but at the end of the day,
hmm
they have studies like that because there's a problem. I mean, they don't just pull it willy nilly out of the air.
Yeah.
there you go, Pat. Pat told me to pour out some of this 40 for your collection.
Thanks, Pat.
He said 440.
Put that sheet back around you too while you're at it.
Damn, 35, man. Oh, my heart be hurting.
That's
Oh,
Yeah, I can understand why you say you want to look at a chondro for years. Like
I wouldn't either.
I
No,
don't
You
even think
said
I
35, man?
yeah,
Oh,
I,
get
I,
all
I,
this out of here. You can take
I,
all this. I'm done with this.
I really, I mean, I put the cages into storage and I literally did not look at a snake, period. I did not buy any sort of snake for about 2 to 3 years. I stopped going to shows. I mean, I was just heartbroken because it was years worth of collecting and money
hmm
spent and time put in. So, yeah,
And you also saw the rise of a lot of people selling their collections too, getting
well,
out of it mysteriously.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that too. I mean, that happened a little before my collection got hit, and it was just kind of funny that all of that happened at the same time. So, and that's why I say, people did know.
What year was this?
You know what? I'd have to go back and look. I don't even remember. I don't even remember at this point. I want to say between, I don't know, 6 and 8, maybe 2006 and 8. But I'd have to really look at numbers to see.
That sounds about right.
So I remember when I came back in 2018, like people were really talking about Nido, like seriously. And I was just like, damn, I've only not had a chondro for 3 years at that point in time. And I was just like, what is this new disease? When did this happen? And over time, like I came to the realization that Nido probably was not something that was new. It was just a thing that people didn't want to talk about, that some people probably did want to talk about because it was affecting their collections. And even to this day, like I can just remember, people saying like, well, we don't necessarily know if it's true. This is quite recently. And they don't have any protocol for quarantine and things like that, and animals, they lose animals and they die, but it's still not a thing that the whole community is on board with.
Well, you don't have to be on board with it, but then you can't blame somebody else when something bad happens to your stuff. I'd rather be more careful about it, quarantine, what you're supposed to do.
Love you, brother.
At the end of the day, you didn't spend 300, 500, $1,000 for no reason. So why would you not want to do that? I mean, it makes no sense to me, anyways.
Well, I think that to you,
pretty to the choir right here.
I think that to you, like it doesn't make any sense. To most of us, it doesn't make any sense. But to somebody that is possibly selling Nido hot animals, they don't really want to talk about that. And people that aren't testing their collections, like I know some people that have said that they have large collections and they're just like, I don't test anything in this collection. But those are not animals that I would buy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and I think that these days with the technology around and the fact that you can test them, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I know that, I hear all these, deals where you've got to test an animal 3 times, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, is it a lot of work? Absolutely. But, if we're spending a lot of our time and of our lives really trying to get to know and breed a particular species, that's the very least that we can do.
Yeah. So with that being said, so do you use fish head? There's not fish head, but Rao, because it's in Dallas.
Yes, I have. Yeah. I have.
I like Rao. They're nice people over there.
Yes.
But I had a conversation with Pat one day, and Pat was telling me, he's just like, there's a lot of pathogens out there that can infect chondros that aren't necessarily nidovirus. And I think that people still argue the fact that nidovirus is a collection of viruses and things like that. So I still think that even though we have identified nidovirus, there's no real exact cure for it. That there's still more to determine about keeping these animals safe as well as keeping your collections clean. But I don't know how that's going to look in the future, because the chondro community would need more money, and nobody really seems to be interested in funding any of this stuff. Like, I don't know if universities want to fund it, but it doesn't seem like it's going as fast as we would probably need it to.
And you're probably right, but when we're spending all our money buying the damn snakes, we ain't got no money for anything else, do we? So it would take a massive effort on all of our parts to do something like that, but I don't think it's not worth doing. I think that we should personally.
Yeah, we should. If we could crowdsource it ourselves, but I mean, who do you even go to for that? That would be a thing. Like, who do you go to for that?
Yeah, who do you go to? And at the end of the day, like you said, some people want to talk about this, some people don't. So the powers that be usually, don't want to for whatever reason. I mean, we all know the reason, but
But it usually the most knowledge happens when you make people uncomfortable.
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
true.
I mean, yeah, you get them out of their comfort zone. I mean, all of us, right? In different.
Everybody, me included.
Yeah, same.
What's up, Steve?
No, Steve. Steve, give his ass a hard time. Nah.
Pat's gone. Somebody got to give him a hard time.
Don't put the tutu on. Don't put the tutu on for Sony.
I can't read that crap. All right, it's too small. I got to get my magnifying glass out. All right, so quit
it. So as you progress from that first set, and we didn't get to this point, but did you hatch any clutches out of that first 35 that you lost?
Absolutely. First clutch was with Ken, or the first 2 or 3 were with Ken in 2003 and 4. And I'm trying.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And
so did he make lineage charts and pass them out too?
Ken always had lineage charts. he memorized all of PowerPoint, so he had it all going.
I'm Ken Deal, by the way. Here's my lineage charts. I keep reading.
Hey! People laugh about that, but I promise you,
he have a nice shirt on. He have one of them nice fashionable shirts on too.
Yeah, he always has one of those nice fashionable shirts on with a lot of hairspray. Good.
I still have that lineage chart that he gave me. It's in my truck. It's in my center console. Funny? I still have it.
I was going through some stuff maybe a few months ago, and I found a whole bunch of lineage charts from 1999, 2000, and I just sat there and stared at them, and I was like, I wish people did it that way still. Everything's kind of washed out. Nobody knows what's what. That's the one difference that I have noticed with the Chondro community now. It's like I don't see very much of that anymore. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see it.
It's people that make them that they're good at them. But I haven't made any of them for the 2 clutches I've made, but they don't come from designers or anything. But for you, Sony, this week I will make lineage charts for those 2 clutches.
But I'm saying, like, what happens if somebody get a nice one from you, then they breed to some else, Charles, and then what I'm saying?
Then you put both of them on the next.
No, that's what I'm saying. At least it had a trail. It had a lineage trail,
Absolutely, man.
I'll make them, Sony.
Thank you. But I won't believe you till I see it, though. Okay, I won't take your word on it.
I'm making one for my class too, Sony.
Okay, good deal. I think that's great.
Sure. I don't want it to be like that spreadsheet I keep lying to Mark Hager about that I'm gonna fill out.
Sony, never trust a black man driving a pickup truck.
Hey, I don't.
Oh man, not you too, Sony.
What kind of truck you be driving? So next time I drive through San Antonio, I can be on the lookout. So what do you drive?
It's a red Ram.
A red
keep
Ram.
Driving. Every time you see a red Ram, keep driving.
Okay, I will. Don't. If I start mugging you from the next lane or something, don't be doing anything crazy. All right.
Listen, you want to hear something funny? So not this Saturday, but the previous Saturday, I was on the phone with Keno when I got pulled over by the cops for not speeding.
Say what?
I was on the phone with Keno. I was on the phone with Keno.
He said, "Fuck
Get out of here, Brian."
Brian on your ass.
Yeah, Brian, I'm gonna make it, bro. I'll send you a copy of it. You don't need it, but I'll send you a copy of it. But yeah, I was on the phone with Keno and Bill
funny.
Hoffman when I got pulled over by the cops for no reason.
For no reason.
So, yeah.
But
Yeah,
be a
so-
black man in a red pickup truck.
Yeah, in Mexico, because I was in South Texas.
Well, that always happens near Mexico. I mean, we've been herping down there and gotten banned from places. So yeah,
That was what happened though. He got a second job.
A second job.
We won't talk about that though.
Okay.
What's my second job, Keno?
We'll talk about that offline.
Yo. Yeah, Salamander, you got it right. You got to keep calling me Travis Fieri.
Hey, I think he met the Garcia brothers. Anyway.
Shut your ass up. But yeah, so out of those clutches that you hatched at first, could you tell us about those clutches from that first set of 35 chondros?
If I'm not mistaken, the first one was an OS high yellow female, and she was beautiful, paired to a Bocandini male. The second one, if I'm not mistaken, was the same Bocandini male, but paired to either a Houston Zoo or a I think it was a Houston Zoo or another OS high yellow. The third one was a Biak to a I don't remember what that was, but remember we were young and dumb, or at least I was, so I didn't really keep many of them. And then when I saw them in other people's hands, you know what? They turned out really, really nice. That's why I think me and Ken, this from last year's babies, we haven't sold any of them because I guess we got wise in our old age or something. I don't know.
And Bocandini was
Listen, Ken don't live too far away from me.
Bocandini,
I'm gonna knock on his door and demand he sells.
You should do that.
I'm gonna go to Ken's house and listen, man. I know you're retired, so I know you at the house.
Yes, he is.
So
he's at the house.
Yeah, so come to his door and sell me a baby.
Yeah, well,
you gotta be careful, man, because he might. Ken might be busy, man. He look like he would do a lot of extracurricular activities.
Yes, he is. But
he stay exercise. That's all I'm saying. You have a lot of got a good man, got a good heart. Got a good heart.
Literally, no, he's got some really cool stuff, and I saw his half not too long ago, and boy, were they nice. None of them have started changing yet, but they're nice and big and healthy, and I can't wait to see. I mean, they'll be a year old in about 3 months, so we'll see, or 4 months. We'll see if they start changing. I mean,
what was that pairing, by the way? I know he talked about it. Refresh our memory.
It was a Biak female paired to a Pepper Merauke outcross to a Wamena, I think is what Pat told me last time I talked to him. So, a lot of different stuff going on, but we always.
And Wamena is very similar to Bocandini, by the way.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see. It's been the first clutch for me since 2015, I think. So, we'll see what happens.
How was that clutch? How was it getting that clutch
when you had
going?
Okay.
My question is, you can.
Go ahead.
So when you were hatching clutches back in that time period, and you said you sold them all, where were you selling them? Were you selling them at shows or online?
No, nobody really bought chondros at shows. Probably the same as now. Everything was
Yeah.
online on Chondro Forum or King Snake for the most part, or deals like done via email.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I bought my
I
first
mean,
Chondro through King Snake.
and I think I've bought a couple that route too back then. Because you didn't have very many choices. You got to remember that. I mean, now
Yeah.
you've got 20 different
Yeah.
avenues to purchase chondros.
Different localities too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't even have pictures at one time. All y'all had was like little
Yeah. All we had was
green snake with the blue stripe, or blue patches on it.
well, remember that was kind of at the very beginning, right?
I remember. I
Yeah.
remember.
So we
Yeah.
just wrote little notes on carrier pigeons and sent them to people we know who like chondros.
But that's what they did, dog. That's how it was described. It'd be like, oh,
Well, you
this
know,
snake is mostly blue. Oh, it's outstanding. That was a real expensive.
it's funny you say that because now that I think about it, the first 4 or 5 or 6 chondros that I purchased, I had to go to the post office, get freaking postal money orders and mail them. That's how
Yeah.
I got them paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I think my first, I use PayPal. I've always used PayPal for every single last one.
Well, they didn't have PayPal back then either at the very beginning.
Yeah. Probably had to go to the bank and get you a money order like at the post office.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like what Keno was talking about when you were hatching those clutches back then, like how was establishing them back
Same as now.
then?
There were depending on the pairing, what localities they were. I mean, some were very easy to start, and then you had ones that had been inbred quite a bit. And by the time it got around to you and your babies, I mean, you'd literally want to squeeze their little heads and throw them in the freezer really quick because they wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So same as today. That hasn't changed.
How many babies did you do that to? You was like, you know what, 2 feedings. You know what, I'm done with this. You're in the freezer.
I never did 2 feedings, but
Okay.
after like 10 feedings, I probably 4 or 5 animals. I mean, eventually you get frustrated, right? I mean,
Yeah. I almost had one that was doing that. It was like 2 weeks away from just being the newest icicle around this one.
I think I've gotten a little more patient with the years, but back then, they weren't going to thrive in the wild if they didn't eat. So I was like, I'm sitting here giving you food. I mean, crap, if you want them to smell like birds, I'll make them smell like birds, whatever you want them to smell like. But, just eat. But some did and some didn't.
Yeah. So as time went on, how many more clutches you have out of that first set? Also, like how many breeding products have you done with Ken Deal?
I don't know, 5 or 6 probably throughout the years.
That's a good number.
I mean, he was actually the first chondro guy I met in real life, and that's kind of funny because that was off of MVF2. I mean, we had talked for a little while, and then at that time it was I was married, and I had never met Ken, never met his wife. He invited us over to his house, so we drove in to see total strangers. In like 2002, and the rest is history. We've been best of friends ever since.
Yeah. You're lucky because that could have been a Get Out episode real fast.
and if you know Ken Deal, I mean, it should have
been. Did you say he was a stripper?
No,
did he say he was a stripper?
No, but yeah,
like the audio cut out.
It could have gone really quick.
I said it could have been like Get Out. He said, "No, him it would have been."
Yeah, we did. I mean, we didn't meet at any public spot or anything. It was like knocked on his door. Yeah, I mean, and it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and I still remember it. I'm trying to remember what year it was. It was right when we bombed Iraq, and all his questions that evening had to do with being Indian and what I thought of that.
That's fucked up, Sony. Yo, kid, what's wrong, kid? So how do you feel about your neighbors getting fucked up?
What the fuck?
That was pretty much the conversation.
And I bet he had a real smooth shirt on when he was asking you these dumb questions.
He always has a smooth shirt on.
Well, here's Sony. So we're at the hour mark. So this is the time when we got to do the giveaway, right? And I didn't tell you about this before, right? So you got to give me and Keno 2 household items to go and get. And then we got to go get them. But first of all, we're gonna ask. We're gonna ask 2 questions, and we're gonna I'm gonna ask a question. Keno is gonna ask a question, and then you'll tell us which items to go and find.
Okay.
Bro, when Ken come back, we got to ask him about that. Why did he?
We gotta ask.
Why did he do? Sony
Why would you
like
do that to Sony like that the first time? All right, Keno. All right, Keno. So ask a question, bro.
Oh. Let's see. Where y'all got to be specific on what side too? Where did I get bit by a spider?
On your left nut.
No. That'll be fucked up. Somebody should get this. This should be one of the regulars, the ones that have been around for a long time. They should know. I got bit by a spider. What part of my body did I get bit by a spider?
He thinks that I wish death on him.
Like a pet spider or a what?
No, like a thugging spider. Just bit the shit out.
What side? I said which side? Mike lower back. What side of my body did I get bit by a spider on? This was a whole scenario. I did. So Sony, I had got bit by a spider. I think we think it to be a what's the brown spider?
Brown recluse
spider.
Yeah, brown recluse
spider.
Okay.
It was this huge knot on my back like this, and it swelled up. It was like a little bump at first, and I thought it was a hair bump. And like 3 days later, it swelled up. It's like a huge pus ball.
Wow.
And one night we was on live, and it bust open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it did.
Don't be telling too many people that story, all right?
Yeah.
No, that only happened when I talk about the yellow designers. Then that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah. So right after.
Were you a kid?
No, this is
a year ago.
About a year ago.
Where were you?
So Travis thought this was hilarious.
I didn't think it was hilarious.
So he was like, look, dog, this girl I was dating, her dad got bit by a spider. He died, dog. He died within a year. Okay. So I was like, oh shit, I'm about to die soon.
It wasn't a girl I was dating. It was my roommate's girlfriend.
Dang, he got it. Mike got it. Dang. Top of the cheek. Dang,
all right, so Mikey Marsh, Keno is gonna go hunting for you. All right, so my question is, since we got a Texas Chondro King on here, can somebody list out of the 5 names of the guests that we had on for the Texas Legends episode.
That was a good one.
You just got to name 4 out of the 5.
Basically, Travis did wish death on me.
I didn't wish death on Keto. That's
I'm
not
still here
what
to talk about it, though, Sony.
I know. But you're alive, though. You didn't die.
That's all that matters. By the grace of God, you know.
So you got the last laugh out of this.
Yeah. Travis tried to send me upstairs.
I didn't. That's not really true. Nobody wants to try to answer that question? Dang.
That's easy money right there.
Oh, Salad. Salad got 4 of them. All right. So Salad got 4 of them. So, you got to tell us 2 household items to go find.
Okay, I need. Do I tell each person what to find?
No, you just tell us both. You just say.
Yeah, just say one.
No, say 2. Say 2. Just tell us so we can get them both at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Cool.
A thermometer and a toilet plunger.
Damn. Fuck. Hey, where's the thermometer?
Hey, you lost last
the thermometer.
week. You won last week, Trav. But you know what, this week?
Yeah, for the head.
Fuck you, Trav. Hey, y'all, I got the plunge in the thermometer right here, baby. I win.
Fuck.
Hey, yeah. Plunge in the thermometer. Yeah. Thermometer and the plunger. I got both
You
of them.
motherfucker.
Yeah, I won. Yeah.
At the moment. You can slow down, 8-ball.
Shut your ass up.
You lost, 8-ball.
All right, so all right, so who are you fighting for? Mikey Marsh? Yeah. Don't worry, Salad. We'll do another one next week.
Yeah, because he lost. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. This time I came back from my rightful throne. Thank you, Sony.
All right, so let's get back to questions.
Well, let me get my. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So, after you went through what you went through with your first set, how did you rebuild your collection after that?
A lot slower because I was paying attention to what I was buying, and I was really careful as to who I was buying from and what I was buying. I would say that. But it wasn't, by that time, remember, I was married and kids too. So the assembling of the collection took a lot longer.
Okay. So was this like the 2 to 3 years after, you lost all this next? So this is around 2011, 2012?
Yeah.
Okay. So
how'd you get that itch?
You got to remember even when I took my break, I was still friends with Ken, Matt, Eric, and Paul. So I'd be hearing about chondros all the time anyway. So I'm sure one of them showed me an animal that they had at their house, and that's probably what got me back into it, saying, it can't happen again type of deal.
I got a question for you. It's not a chondro question, but it's kind of a chondro question. Did Kendall ever influence you to wear smooth Kendall shirts?
Actually, it's funny you say that. He went on a trip last year, and when he came back, he had a Kendall shirt that he handed me from his trip. Yes.
Like a Steve Harvey shirt.
And
Hell
you know
no.
what's
Oh
funny?
man.
What's funny is my wife almost asked me to put that on for this show
That would have
because
been perfect. See, your wife
That
got
was-
style. You gotta listen to her.
yeah,
That would
I
have been
should
perfect.
listen to her. She's like, "You can be like Ken, put that shirt on," but
Yeah,
you know,
you know,
I didn't.
Tony Kemp.
so so what was the first snake that you grabbed when you were rebuilding the collection?
It was a Maruki with a solid stripe. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, that was
Oh.
the first one, and that was one of my favorite for sure of all the uh, locales, probably. I mean, because back then, remember, I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of Merokis in the past, let's say 5 years. Maybe one or two have I seen with the solid stripe, but back then, I'm not going to say they were common, but they kind of were. I mean, you could
Yeah,
find
way
if
more
you
than
wanted it.
now,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we
they
talking about Morocco's more common than another one. Kofi were common than Wamena were common than a lot of these locales that you don't see barely now. Back then, they were so plentiful.
Yeah, I mean, back then the Kofiaus, I mean, everything turned mustard. I mean, it wasn't like you had to tell somebody that, hey, that's a Kofiau that didn't change color or whatever. Back then, they were changing color and
Yep,
doing all kinds of color changes. They were, I
yep.
mean, for a while there, I liked them a lot more than I did the Beox, and Beox have always been my favorites.
So as you went on and you started this new leg of your collection, um, how did that go and like how'd you get up to breeding at that point in time?
Okay, well, actually, that's kind of a. I'm trying to think now. 2015, um, Eric Cook let me borrow one of his Pepper Maruki outcrossed animals that he had gotten from Greg Maxwell, and we paired it to a Biarc OS High Yellow, and that was a clutch that we had in 2015, and that's actually the great grandsire of the clutch that Ken and I just had. So it's kind of cool how that ended up happening and coming to fruition in full circle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just went from there, and then 2015ish and whatnot, or 2012, I got into boas big time, and I'd for a while condors were on the down low. I didn't buy any chondros for quite some time, and went in hot and heavy into boas for about 4 or 5 years, and I still like them a whole lot. And then the chondro itch just started coming back, I would say, in the past 3 years or so.
So
Right.
so so when you had that second, part of your collection, was there only one clutch that you produced out of that?
Correct. There was only one, and at that point, I mean, it was kind of one of those deals where I got stuck in one of those ruts with substance abuse, and you know what that does, and
Yeah.
that just pretty much tore everything out of my hands.
Yeah. So, you know, going through that with the animals, when you got out of that part, what did you move on to next?
I didn't. It took me a few years to be able to get out of the rut. I mean, get out of the depression, everything that there
Yeah.
was. And I would say that was about 3 years ago. And that's when I started getting back into everything again.
Nice.
Well,
So you 3 years clean now? I was about to
cheers to
say keep
Sony.
fighting, man.
No,
Straight up, man.
I'm 7
Yeah, cheers
years,
to Sony.
but yeah,
How many years you
Cheers
say,
to Sony.
Sony?
in January it'll be 7 years. But but like the first 3 or 4 years of that, it was kind of trying to find yourself again, right?
Yeah,
So I had to focus on more important stuff and snakes were not them. But that being
yeah.
said, I mean, still with the guys, I still hung out with them, saw them, and it's not like I had just completely like turned my back on all my likes. I just knew at that point I couldn't keep them for a while till I was just completely ready to get back into them hot and heavy again.
A toast to you, Tony, for getting your life back on track for sure, man.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It wasn't any fun, that was for sure. I mean, looking
No,
back,
we all definitely go through our battles, man. I was glad
Yeah.
you were able to come out of that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we all have issues that we deal with, whether we talk about them or
Yeah.
not. Right? So,
Yep, we do.
Well, I mean, as we all get older, we kind of all see it. Like
Yep,
it's kind of one of those things. Just like everybody has to go through their own thing to be,
true.
a real adult. Like everybody has to go through these things, and it's
Mhm.
hard. Life is hard. Like sometimes with some people, it just seems like they got it easy. But for some people, life is life.
hey,
It happens.
Nobody got it easy. They
I
just do a good job of hiding it. That's
don't
all.
think anybody has it easy. They just may have different problems, or they don't want to talk about them. But
Yeah.
you can't say that some people have it easy, because I don't really believe that. I honestly don't, because no
They're
matter,
just good at putting a facade up. That's
yeah,
all.
I think so. Anyways,
I think some people do. Like it's only because they're being kept.
yeah, and you may be right to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point you've got to grow up, and you're not going to be kept. And
You got to put the big boy jaws on. Big girl jaws
yeah,
on.
I'm gonna
and
tell you.
go ahead.
I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I know somebody that was a kept person for until they were 70 when their husband died, and then all the crazy batshit crazy things that her husband had to deal with keeping her on the up and up. Then it became a whole bunch of other people's problems. So
Right.
like she never really changed, bro. Like she's just been a crazy ass old lady because it's too late for her to change. But yeah, like some people they get to act how they want to act, like it's crazy. But it's not the majority. The majority
No,
of people they have to
definitely
live
not
life.
the majority of people. It's
Yeah.
not.
For real. Sonny, something you was doing that you said, I kind of wrote it down. I wanted to double back to it. Like your few clutches, and correct me if I'm wrong, but damn near every clutch you mentioned, you outcrossed it. It
Yes,
seems like you never went designer on designer. Why is that?
because I didn't want to inbreed too much. You got to remember, at that point when it came to high yellow, all you had was the OS high yellow and maybe a lemon tree. You may have had one or two, but at that point, all the pictures that we were seeing of all these fantastic animals, they were made from the outcrosses. So that's why I would go that route.
So I got a question for you after seeing this for
Mm.
so long. Have you noticed anything that happens? Because a lot of people say nothing happens with continuous inbreeding, but have you noticed anything that happens over time with just continuous
Mm.
generation after generation of inbreeding?
Absolutely. Lack of feeding, and the inability to thrive. Um, coming
Small animals.
Babies coming out really small. Uh, yeah, I mean, to say that it doesn't happen would be a travesty, really.
There's a lot of people that say that.
And
Well,
have you experienced this with like some of the animals you bought?
absolutely,
Noticing how some locality crosses are just get
absolutely.
huge and then
And I've
yeah.
tried to help some folks start blue line animals, and these were like very, very nice blue line animal clutches, and like literally none of them would eat. None of them, no matter what we did, how many months it took. No. I mean, we saw it over and over. I mean, of course, sometimes you have those clutches that, I mean, they fit perfectly like a glove. And in
Yeah.
those clutches, everybody ate, I mean, reasonably well. But I think for the most part, I mean, and I think blue lines are more so. I can say that about them. Whereas high yellows, hey, if you got any Biok influence in there, chances are they're going to eat for you at some point and relatively quickly. I've only seen that with the blues.
And
You
I
know
will
what?
say this too.
You're
A lot of
that's
the
something
blue
that we've.
guys.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Charles.
So
A
that's
lot of the
something
blue guys.
that we've seen.
Go ahead. You go. You go.
That's something that we've seen. Like we've
For
seen, like
real.
the blue line catastrophe animals, but people don't really just say it out loud. But that's one thing that we've seen that
Yeah.
you're like the first person we've had on that really said that about the blue line animals because over the years we kind of seen some shit with some of them blue line animals. But yeah,
Man,
go
some
ahead, Kim.
real, some
I mean,
man,
Some
some.
not,
weird
We seen
shit.
I saw animal blow
not,
his whole intestines out.
I mean, blues are still my favorites. They always,
Yeah.
there's something about seeing a blue animal in a cage. Um, and I'll always love them. It's just, you know, but I do see these days y'all are outcrossing them more and more compared to way back when. So
Yeah,
I would think that y'all would have more of an ability to have animals that thrived these days compared to
Yeah.
back then.
well, John Irby, Dave D, and Christian Stewart, they are. So they figured out a way to outcross them, and they've been really successful with it. But I want to say the same thing is there is one thing. It's just like a bunch of the calicos that you see these days. They don't look like the old calicos that you used to see.
Right.
Um, and they've been outcrossed, but it's just like I don't know if you can get that back.
And
And
some that we did too, and some happened. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Sonny, but someone that I also know that happened. Excuse me, but I say about 10, 10 to 20 years ago, something happened where so the animals that you guys had, you guys were outcrossing and you guys were feeding them well. You guys were feeding them, nice meals. Somewhere along the lines, they start being designers to designers and feeding them less. For some strange reason, it went totally. I had people telling me, "Hey, I only feed my snake when it looked like it's hungry,
right.
and could be like once a month or something, and it'd be like adult mouse, and it wasn't a lot of people feeding rats also.
Right.
Um, I think that also contributed too.
Yeah.
Now what I'm starting to see as a whole, people are starting to the feeding part is starting to come back to the middle, but for the most part, um, people are on the lower side of feeding the chondros compared to what they used to back in the day.
Absolutely, because you see, I look online and see all posting animals that are, I don't know, 600, 800 grams. We would have never thought of that. If it wasn't 1,000 grams, we wouldn't breed the female.
Yeah,
Yes, I agree with you, as in that's like the trend that it's going towards. And I can't answer that question as to why. I would like to think it's science based and there's a reasoning behind it. Um, I don't do that. I mean, I feed every 10 to 14 days for on my adults. Um, uh, the babies still get fed every 6 to 7 days. I mean, of course,
okay.
when it gets closer to breeding season in your food cycling, of course, you're going to take away feeding, or you don't want your males to get as big. So they're always wanting to breed. You cut back feeding on them, but females, I still don't, and I wouldn't. But different people do things for different reasons.
Did you ever fast your females?
Yes, I was it last year. I did that.
How are you getting them ready for a breeding season?
I had before then, all I had ever done was just temperature cycling, right? So just turn the nighttime low on and let it drop for 12 hours or 8 hours, whatever have you. But last year, when Matt came into town, we talked about food cycling. And I was like, you know what? Let's try that. And I think I wrote it all down, but I fasted the female while I was doing temperature cycling as well. And, wham, bam, she got gravid relatively quickly. And so I think there's probably more to that than not. I'm glad that Matt told me how to do that or showed me how to do it, because I guess in the wild you do have your plentiful seasons and you have seasons where there's not very many prey items like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but that would go kind of like with your with people talking about feeding them less, just as a whole, and maybe I'm maybe not underfeeding, but just not as much as we're used to. And I think a little bit of that goes a long way. And yeah, I had, if I'm not mistaken, that female, I fed her the first couple of weeks I had her. Then I went 4 weeks without feeding her, gave her a small prey item, and then just every other week, I think, is what I did on that one. And the temps I didn't drop as low as I did way back when. And I think I just dropped the temps to like 78 or so at night.
Okay. I like that. I like that. How are you doing with humidity in your part of Texas?
I do have issues with humidity. It's really funny because upstairs in the same house that I'm in, I have way more humidity issues than I do downstairs. And from me to where Ken is or Matt is, we're a little more wet here in Dallas compared to down there. But
Oh, yeah.
you'd be surprised though at how much I've got to spray. I know some people don't even spray anymore, and you can put a huge water bowl underneath the heat panel.
Nah,
But
I
I
do.
can't.
I do the huge water boy, and I still spray.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Forget
do
I
too.
have to spray.
You try a humidifier?
No, I don't, because that kind of eats all the paint and destroys your walls in your house. So no, I don't do that.
So I got one where I can send it in a direction. I just shoot it in the middle of the room. So by the time it gets to the middle of the room, there's no mist.
Well,
But yeah,
okay, that sounds great. I've never tried one of those.
yeah, I got one because it gets it. And my son's downstairs acting crazy. I can hear his little wild ass. Um, but
It's Memphis coming out.
it's Memphis in him. But in my garage, because like in certain nights, like tonight, I don't really gotta heat it because it was 71 today. I don't gotta heat the garage at all. But like if I gotta heat it or cool it, like because the temperature outside is different, like it does drop the humidity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need as much humidity as we used to think when we'd literally spray the heck out of the cages morning and evening. I mean,
Yeah,
now I can go like, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days. I
yeah.
can do that, but I also keep my substrate at the bottom of the cages relatively wet too, though, so I don't have to do that so much.
What do you
Um,
use as substrate?
I just go to Home Depot and just get a mulch mix and get that cleaned up and throw it in there. And about once a week, throw maybe half a cup of water in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use puppy pads.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I use puppy pads. I hate mulch cleaning that shit out. I hate it using the repti chip and all
Yes.
that stuff.
Yes, you're absolutely right. For a long time, I kept the chondro sterile because of that. It was all just paper and perches and water bowls. That's what it was for a lot of years. Um, I don't like substrate per se, but I think it looks better. It helps them shed. It keeps the humidity. Of course, yeah, it's a bitch to clean up. Absolutely, it is. But these days, I mean, you can get a vacuum. There's a lot of things you can really do. You get that crap out of there. As long as you have the corners sealed
You all
well,
right?
I think I mean, it's all right.
So did you have any
You right?
did you have any or did you try any maternal?
That is one thing that I've never done through the years.
Okay.
I always wanted to, but when it got down to it, I would hear people say, "Well, you know what? I had one bad egg and it ruined the whole clutch, so I didn't do it." So that kind of scared me to the point where, no, I'm not saying I know better than Mother Nature. I don't, but
Mm-hmm.
you can take out a few of those issues if you do it in an incubator, I think. Well, a properly set up incubator, not just an
Yeah.
incubator.
So when you made the incubator, excuse me, that Pat still is using to this day, how did you test run that incubator before you actually put eggs in there and incubate them?
Man, I forgot what those things are called. Gobies? Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
Govies.
yeah, that's what we'd use even back then. I mean, you get,
Sam, damn, gobies were around back then,
I mean, it was a different brand back then, but you could,
but
uh,
similar type thing
yeah,
though.
similar type, and you would
Okay.
just, you'd have to experiment with these things because back then everybody was using cooler incubators, right? That's all we knew, but you still had to make sure they worked, because I've been in situations where something worked perfectly here, but you go to San Antonio with it and it didn't work at all. And why that
Yeah.
is, I mean, there's lots of reasons, but
Yeah.
Well, what
I
y'all,
live
what
in.
y'all, what y'all doing in San Antonio down there, Travis?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Sony. I said it a few times. I literally live in a canyon that they put a neighborhood in. It's a fucking canyon. It's
okay,
literally a canyon. It doesn't look like a canyon now, but when I first moved here, there wasn't any houses really. It's a canyon. Like it's still kind of that way. What was it? Saturday night, my wife hit a coyote.
great,
Yeah, so still like that.
Damn.
Uh, but yeah, it's dry.
yeah,
Like it's dry. So like I gotta do different things. Like I only use 6 quart tubs or bigger as water dishes. Um, I will tell you this though, and I'm kind of surprised with the juvenile rack I built. Like those tubs in there stay hella humid, and they're 66 quart tubs, and
wow,
they stay really humid.
Mm.
Um, and I'll tell you this too. One of the cages I bought, well, all the cages I bought from American Enclosures,
uh-huh,
all of those stay super humid.
okay.
And I don't know what it is. And I went down to Victoria, Texas to pick them up because that's where they build them. And all those things stay super humid. They're strong too, really strong cages, but
Really?
they stay super humid. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into those. 'Cause I don't know very much about pages, but
Yeah.
yeah, y'all are pretty dry, and over here, it's funny because this year was the first year I even used vermiculite. Up until this point, it had been just no substrate, just water. Is how I incubated every one of my Chondro clutches.
Wow. You brave, Sony. I'll tell you that. You brave.
Say, remember right.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
get vermiculite right, and I was honestly scared to even use it. I mean, I talked to Matt and Ken so many times, and I ended up going then with the perlite, a little easier, but I prefer the no substrate method.
I would be honest with you. I use a 50-50 perlite vermiculite mix, and it seems to work pretty well for me.
Okay, okay. Huh.
But
Try
I
that next
I
time.
can
But if it crashes, it's on you. All right.
Everything is on me. This is my operation. There's nobody for me. Listen, when I be out in my snake room, I be looking at this shit. I be like, listen, this is all on me. All the accomplishments of mine and all the failures of mine. This is how this is gonna go.
You gotta own it.
You know,
gotta own it. Yep.
That's the only way.
And I don't.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't like people fucking with my shit in my snake room. Like, like I know where stuff is, and it's just like, listen, I don't want anybody else involved. I don't want to turn around and point at people like, it's you fucked it up. Like, nah, I can deal with it if it's me who fucked it up.
Absolutely. Right. Well, I hope people don't come into your snake room and want to mess stuff up. I mean,
yeah, they're toddlers. They're my children.
Well, that's what kids do that.
Yeah, little people that look like you, so you can't hit them hard. But yeah, so as you've gone on from year to year and era to era, like what truly has changed, for you keeping wise as far as enclosures to maintaining what I call it we call it husbandry. Like, what are some of the major things that have changed for you over the years?
I'll be honest, the little perches y'all are using now, for every animal. I mean, for the longest of time, we were using what, 1/2 inch, 1 inch perches for many, many, many years, and come to find out throughout time and different people using them, you have to use, or not, you have to use the smaller ones, but they seem to do a lot better with them. I think that's a big change. The fact
are you talking about for the babies?
Huh?
Are you talking about for the babies?
No, I'm talking about for older animals too.
Oh, okay.
More so the older animals. Because I still have cages that have the sharp worms that have 1 inch PVC rods. I've had Habitat Systems cages that had 1.5 to 2 inch thick ones. So these smaller ones, I have not bought any yet, but I keep looking at them, and I know y'all's sponsor makes them, because I've already looked at his. I just haven't got around to getting them. But
you know what, Sony, is Christmas. I'm gonna send you a care package.
All right.
I'm gonna send you a care package. Me and Chris, we're gonna hook it up, and we're gonna send you a care package.
But I think that's changed, and the fact
they candy painted too, Sony.
Oh, that's
There's a lot of candy paint.
But that and how wet we used to keep them compared to how y'all keep them now. At one point, we were told, you had to spray so much, but what we would deal with that, along with that came, our eyes, because we kept them a little too wet, and it was, like you said, a process of trial and error. You screw up, you can't blame anybody else but you. You can't say somebody on the internet told me to do it this way. I mean, So, I mean, that's the two big things I've seen. But, I mean, along with the good comes the bad too. I've seen that most people these days don't keep lineage charts. Y'all breed them a lot smaller, so the clutch sizes are much smaller than we had way back when. I mean, there's lots of changes. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I don't know, but it's just a different way of doing things.
I got a question about that for you.
Go for it.
Do you think that the size of the animals has something to do with fertility? And do you think that overweight animals could possibly produce worse clutches than like a thinner pair?
Okay. That's a slippery slope right there. There's a balance.
It is. There's a balance.
Overweight animals that have a lot of fat on them, yes. I don't think their fecundity's that great, and I don't think you're going to end up with a big clutch. But I still, if it's me, I wait till something's 800 to 900 grams.
Yeah.
But it's not even the weight. We used to breed them at age 3, right? For a female. I've
Yeah.
found it through the years. You wait till age 4 or 5, they're going to be way better animals to breed. So I think that has more to do with it than weight per se. It's just we don't have the patience. We've spent so much money on a particular animal that we got it in our heads. They're 3 years old. Let's breed them. Let's make some money or whatever it is. So if you just hold them for for another year or so, 2 years even, I think everybody would have bigger clutches. I think, but what do I know?
So I had this same conversation with somebody that we will not name. Um, but I have this thing that I think that when you leave the pair together longer and you don't try to shoot them and you don't try to close them into a certain window, that they produce higher clutches because the females can't retain sperm for a while. Um, and I think that that is somewhat true that just leaving these animals together for however long that you possibly can instead of just rotating males. I think that does play a part in having larger clutches.
Um, I have never. I can't say I've ever done that, but I can see that. I do it a little differently than the guys that I usually talk to a lot. I mean, they're all it's like 5 days in, 5 days out, 5 days in, or week in, week out. Mine, once they're together, besides feeding, they're together for 4 months or till the female gets gravid. And if I have to change a male out, chances are I'm going to think long and hard because then I won't know who made her pregnant
Yeah,
until the babies come out, right? So
yeah, you can't take them to the Mari show.
no. So I try not to do that even. I mean, it is what it is. If I lose out on the breeding season, I'll lose out on the breeding season and I'll use another male next year.
Yeah, that seems to be real smart to me. Um, so for me, when they stop breeding, like I keep them together for months. But
Okay.
like in that break where they stop breeding, like I'll pull them apart for a day or two, feed the female, the male will eat, I'll feed them, and I'll throw them back together. And I got that,
Okay,
I got a pair rocking like that right now.
when you say you keep them for months together, so I mean, right now, let's just say it is breeding season. Like, when did you put them together?
Man, I put these two together a month ago,
Okay,
and they bred every day for 2 weeks straight. They bred every day for another. They bred every day for another 2 weeks straight. They only get like they'll only like the first time I pulled them apart, they didn't even stop breeding. Like I just pulled them apart because I was like, "You've been in here with her for 2 weeks, so I'm gonna feed you."
right.
And I put them back together, and then a couple of nights ago, I looked on the camera, and I was like, "They're not breeding." I was just like, "I'm gonna pull them apart and feed her." Put them back together today, and as soon as I put him in, he just climbed right up to her and just got all over her.
Hey,
And I was
gotta
just like,
remember,
yeah, that's
eh,
that's what you want.
a male is a male. He needs food and he needs a little rest too. But I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
keep them in there like nonstop. I don't think you've got to give them a little bit of time to recharge.
yeah.
Males and
I
females.
mean, yeah. The females, like what I notice with chondros, people always talk about the males. I'm just like, it's really dependent on your female, like how receptive she is,
I
because
Go ahead, finish.
because the males generally they know what to do. Now I got one male that's kind of dumb. He is kind of young. Um, but he's just like I'm just like she's dropping that tail, boy. You better go in and get that.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah,
just
I think for sure it has to do more with the females being ready or wanting it. The Biok that
yeah
Ken and I did a pairing with last year. This girl's a big girl, probably one of the biggest Biocs I've probably ever been around. I mean, she's about as big around as probably my forearm. And, you know, I tried to copy everything because I'm OCD and I write everything down. So I tried to copy it just like clockwork. But this year, it just seems like she's not ready for whatever reason. The weight's there, but I just don't think. I mean, her reproductive organs are ready, and I think she knows that. And so she's like, no, I don't want it this year. I don't want it. So yeah, I think it has way more to do with the female than the male, because any male is going to want to jump on top of a female if given the opportunity.
Yeah, the man grease. Yeah. But yeah, I think that like when it comes down to these chondros, like I think that there's some misconceptions with them as you've been keeping them and just like watching them, just like I don't know what y'all were talking about because I don't see that when it comes to breeding. And like I think that like older chondros just seem to do better. Like once they like trying to breed them at 3, I don't necessarily think that that's the best route to go. Like 4 at the least, and like 5, I think that that's the best point to start breeding males and females. But what
See,
do I know?
I'm going to agree with you on the males. On the females,
Okay.
of course, I'm going to say 4 to 6 would probably be best case scenario, because you're not going to have a little girl that can only throw out 12 eggs. You could possibly have, I don't know, like we had back then, 28, 30, 32, 34 eggs. So, I mean, you got more of a chance of that. A male, I still think we start them a little too young. We always have. We've always started at 18 months is what we used to start them back then. I don't know what y'all do them now. But my male that's proven that I use, I mean, he's going on 8 years old, and he started breeding really well when he turned 5. Before that, it was like just hit or miss type of deal.
Yeah, I got an 18-month-old male that I would like to breed, but he's too young. He's far too young at this point in time. Um, but yeah, I think that and I also think that the wild caught and imports seem to just be easier to breed, just from what I've seen at younger ages than a lot of the designers. But we talked about that earlier.
Okay, it was well, we haven't really talked about that because he and I agree with you, but I think that's because we don't know how old these females are. We just think they're young because of their size, but they're
Yeah,
really probably a couple of years older than we think.
Right.
yeah. I got a female like that. I'm just like, I don't think she's as young as you said she is. She got a lot of scars on her. She
I got
been
one
out
like
there in a
that too,
while.
dog. She
Hey,
don't
but
got a scar, but she won't take breathing.
really, okay. Well, I mean, I've found that like most of the imports were way readier to breed, whereas I'd have to, I mean, play some Barry White and shit for some of my designers for them to breed. Whereas you just throw 2 imports together and on day 1 and they would breed. It's like they knew what they were doing,
Right.
and designers didn't for whatever reason.
I think it's also like even the ones that come from farms, they just seem to do a little better.
I agree.
Like, it's just like it's something about that. It's just like maybe when you smashing these genes together, like the
For real.
same genes together, like you may be creating issues with these animals that you just can't tell. Like one of the things that I always thought about with some of these animals is like, yeah, I understand that inbreeding happens in the wild, but if you do it over and over again, like to get like a certain look, like you don't necessarily know what's going on the inside.
Absolutely.
Like you have no clue what's going on the inside. So it's just like, does anybody ask that question?
No,
I don't think a lot of people ask that question.
no. I mean, if they were dogs or cats, they probably would. But being as they're snakes, no, nobody's going to ask that question. Whereas you're probably right than wrong, because even if you go to Biak or go to where to find some Arus, yeah, are they probably somewhat related? Probably, if you really think about it. But I don't think that they're going to go in 3, 4, 5, 8 generations in just breeding to the same animal. They're going to outcross within their own kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, we also don't know like how far these animals are traveling. So, they could be mixing it up a lot.
Yeah.
They could be mixing it up with just a little bit. But we don't know. And then, we don't know how many animals from each clutch survive. So, like, what is the actual likelihood that, you'll get sibling to sibling pairs? We
Right.
don't know any of this stuff.
No,
We
you
just
don't.
really don't know.
Well, but we've never known that, right? With the imports, I mean, you can have your great importers, Cameron, and there's a couple others, but end of the day, I think these days when it comes to imports, there's far less record keeping. So I think right now, I mean, with let's just say these import animals prices are going up, which I've been seeing over the past couple of 2-3 years. I mean, hey, they want their money in their pocket too, right? So they're catching as many as they can catch, put them in a bag, and ship them here. I don't think they're really paying attention to that sort of thing. If you can even pay.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, Sony, we got like 10 minutes left, so let's chop it up about something that you want to talk about. Like, you got anything that you want to like tell us that we haven't asked?
No. What do y'all keep besides chondros?
Children. Human children. Human children that look just like me. That's what I'm
Nuisance
keeping.
like him too.
Yeah.
Nuisance.
That's what he says until you see his youngest son, and that's little Keno.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's little Keno. He got the same rock head that his daddy got.
Does he?
look like tiny, look like a tiny brown pebble. That's what he keep. But I say you keep a multitude of things, Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you keep? What you keep now? What's the new species
Okay.
you working with?
I've got a few things. I mean, chondros are always going to be my favorites, but man, coming in on a close second are all the different Asian rat snakes. I'm really liking the cave dwelling rat snakes. I'm liking the Vietnamese blue beauties.
I was going to ask you about those.
They're really cool, man. They're really cool. I like them a lot.
How big do they get, size wise and width wise, like girth wise?
Girth wise, probably, I don't know, maybe a silver dollar tops, but
Okay.
but they can get big. I've seen 8.5 footers, 9 footers.
Wow.
What's cool about those is, I mean, compared to our chondros, that sometimes they'll eat and crap in 2 weeks. Sometimes it'll take a month. I mean, these guys will literally, between feeding and crapping out, sometimes it's 3 days. So you can like literally feed them 2 meals a week and they'll be completely out of their systems. They're just something
Wow.
I've never seen before. So I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, of course, every single one of them likes to bite. But once you're used to a chondro bite, I guess they're nothing. But I'm liking those a lot. That's where my love stands right now. It's chondros, then them, and then I've got some corns from Ken, and I've got hopefully next year I'll be able to breed those. And this year I'm actually cooling some scaleless corns right now, and they're in bromation, and we'll see what happens there. Just to say that I did it. I mean, that's kind of the only reason I'm doing it. I do like them, but just to say I did it and then get rid of the whole project after I'm done. Because I mean, space is one of those things that I don't have all that much of
Yeah.
anymore. I've got to pick and choose what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep, and that's one of those things that we'll see. Especially as these chondros get older and I have more clutches. I'd like to give more time to them. But right now, my likes are all across the board. I tried to have a file snake breeding this year, and one female ate another female and the male. So yeah, that project went to hell in a handbasket really quick. So
What the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah.
So did you get the idea? Are you and Ken like planning on doing like a corn snake project together?
No, no. I do Chondro projects with him, but not corn. He, I want to have something different than his genetics, but that dude has very, very cool genetics. He makes the best ultra males for sure. But between him and Matt, I mean, Matt,
Yeah.
a hell of great Oketees. I mean, it depends on what you're into, right? There's something for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, they
Um,
had a lot of snakes at that table. I was just like,
oh man,
you
those
two really be doing this like
yeah.
together, like
I don't. I when I see those guys, we have a group chat with four of us, and we talk all. I mean, almost on a daily basis. But I ask them, I don't even know how you can breed that many clutches and have the time for them. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to. But these guys are good at what they do, and hey, I guess, I mean, if you can do it and it's not work to you, more power to you. I just couldn't do it.
well, part of it is because Ken was really smooth, silky shirts, so he's really aerodynamic, so it helps him move faster.
Maybe, but what about Matt?
I don't know. You got a question?
He doesn't dress that.
He doesn't. He doesn't. Like, you got a question from Salad. He said he wants to know what's something that Sony wants to get into species wise.
Um, species wise, two bucket list animals still that I want are
Yeah.
basins, and I'd like to have a pair of Bolins. Um,
Ooh.
those have been on my radar for 25 years, and um, it's funny how I think a lot of us old heads, especially in chondros, I'll look at a chondro and I'll say, $3,000. That's all. I'll buy two of them. But any other species, that's $100. That's too expensive. So,
The pandemic, man. It's the pandemic. We both got
I know it is. I know it is. But I
it.
look at all these. I look at the Bolins. I look at I mean the basins. The prices have not gone down. They've pretty much stayed steady where they are, if not gone up. I mean, if I really think about it, but some of those things. Basins are somewhat easier to find, but Bolins. I mean, crap. I was on Morph Market a few months ago, and they were still like, or the two that I saw were like 10 grand, 12 grand. And I was like, for something that, I mean, you've got to buy those, in my opinion, thinking that they're going to be pets, because breeding them and proving them out is still difficult for most people. So if I can justify spending 20 grand on pets, maybe I'll get them. But I just don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. At one point, I thought chondros were the hardest thing to breed. But once you conquer one mountain, though, you want to do something else, right? You don't want to go easier. I mean, you can go easier, but I mean, I think it's more challenging and better for all of us to
Yeah.
a little harder.
I'm gonna tell you something. When I went to go to NARBC in Dallas, I haven't told him this, but I'll tell y'all this. Like I saw Pat's bull snakes, and I was just like, I gotta give me some of these motherfuckers. Like it's gonna happen.
Bulls are cool snakes.
It's gonna happen.
I don't like their attitudes at all, but boy, are they cool snakes. I love those white-sided ones. I don't know what you're looking at, but I think you need to get some from him. He produces some really cool ones, and I think you should get them like tomorrow.
I don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow, but it'll happen.
He said tomorrow. Damn.
They go to jail today. But yeah, I saw him. I was just like, what the fuck? I was like,
bull
I was
snake.
just like, I see these things in the wild a bunch because I have them around my neighborhood, and like I see them all the time. And when I used to do like training when I was in the army, like I used to see bull snakes all the time. But I used to look at them and be like, yeah, that's a big, thick ass snake. But I didn't think too much about it. But like seeing him when he had him in his possession, I was just like, I want the motherfuckers.
Yeah, very impressive animals. I like them a lot. They're really, really cool snakes.
Yeah. So you got any parting words, Sony?
No, I don't. But it was fun being here. I'm glad y'all asked me to join along today. I had a lot of fun talking about just random stuff with chondros, whether it be comparing the old days to now. And, keep on doing what y'all are doing. Y'all are doing good, I think, for the community to have things like this. I wish we had stuff like this way back when. So keep on doing you.
Yeah. Well, Sony, guess what? You're coming back. So, like, you're coming back.
Hey, we appreciate that too, Sonny.
You got to come back.
You took us down memory. You took me down memory lane with that.
Well, just don't get bit by a spider and die on us, and I'll be back.
Damn. See that? You see what you didn't have as Travis? You done rubbed off on Sony.
Listen, Sony, when he got bit by that spider, I did not tell him that story.
No,
he interpreted it as like me
told
saying
me that
he was the
same night he was like, hey, he do it right. He do it so smooth. He's like, hey, dog, let me tell you the story, baby. I had a story to tell you. And it was like, hey, this girl I was dating, her father,
it's not the girl I was dating.
He was mowing whatever it was. Case maybe
he was not mowing the lawn. He was repairing a fence.
Whatever, man. He was doing something in the lawn. He got bit by a damn spider.
Huh?
Is yours a true story?
This is a true story. So I'll tell you the story. So my roommate Zelch, she was dating this girl named Andrea. And
same day I died, by the way. I mean, same day I got bit. Go ahead.
So he was dating this girl named Andrea, and she was like really sad. Like one day when she came over, I didn't like Andrea at all. I fucking detested this girl, and she was really sad. And I was like, "What's wrong with your fucking girlfriend?" And he was like, "Well, her dad's got to get surgery because he waited too long after he got bit by that spider when he was repairing the fence. So like they had to remove his leg." So they removed his leg, and then after they removed his leg, they found out that like his whole leg, not just below the knee, it was all affected by this spider bite. So they were gonna try to do surgery on him again, but before they did surgery on him, he died.
What kind of spider was this? Can I ask?
Yeah, it was a brown recluse. But they said they think he got bit multiple times by the spider.
You're about as good news as logging into WebMD or something. I mean, every time.
Thank you. The same night I got bit by my spider.
This actually did not happen the same time. This actually happened in like 2000. I guess he got bit by the spider sometime.
No, I'm talking about you told me the story. You told me the story the same night that I told you.
Yeah. And you know what you did after I told you that fucking story? You took your dumb ass to the doctor.
Well, I'm glad.
And almost.
You could have died.
And guess what happened when you went to the doctor? You got treated and now you're fine. Get over it.
I had a damn open wound on my back.
Yeah, but
It's not like I was laughing at you.
saved your
It
life.
was.
You should be thankful.
No, the
Yeah, be
doctors did.
thankful.
Travis didn't.
Yeah, well, Travis pushed you in that direction. Right?
Nah, he made the nerves go up to 1,000.
Yeah, but that night, if you see the doctor, you could have died in your sleep.
Sony, look, man, you can't save him, man. That man be laughing at me
That is
multiple times where I almost died. There's multiple times in my life on the line that he think it's hilarious.
Well,
Listen, Sony, every time Keto almost dies, the noises he makes is really funny.
Wow, my almost death noises are the most funny.
Man,
It'd be your friends.
Was
It'd be your own friends.
I want to hear a death rattle one day.
Listen, Sony. So what he's referring to are two specific instances of when he almost fell off a roof, and the other time when he was almost choking. And like I was on the phone with Keno. It's not like I saw him. So like I was on the phone with him, and I was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he was almost dying on the other end of the phone.
And you was laughing. You was doing this. He was doing this.
So how did you almost fall off the roof? I gotta hear this.
Yeah, tell him.
So look, right? You know, in Chicago, you know, in the winters, winters get bad, and the roof was icy when I was at work. So I went out there, and it was a patch of ice right there. It was a big patch of ice, and I didn't see it. So I stepped on the roof, and I'm like, oh, and I slipped. I caught myself. I almost caught whiplash. Because if I would have slipped and fell the roof, I was gonna slide right off the roof right there.
Well, you would have landed in some soft snow.
No, he would have died.
No, it was concrete right there.
Okay, well that's why I don't. I mean, Chicago. How about that?
And Travis, he thought that, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, damn, dog, I almost fell off the roof, and he just started rolling.
No, I was rolling before that, if you don't remember. Listen, Sony, this is what happened.
Oh, okay, even better.
Keto was on the phone with me. He was talking. He was like, I think I got whiplash. I was like, what the heck? And that's when he said, I almost fell off the roof. That's what really happened. And then the time where he was almost choking. He was making a bunch of noises, and I was just like, "What just happened to you?"
I was drinking water, and then you thought I was funny too.
I mean, I don't know.
But in his defense, I've had that happen too, where somebody was doing that, and I laughed too. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do, but when you hear noises like that, I mean, it is kind of funny, right?
I don't know that, Yeah, You hear somebody falling off the roof.
But at the end of the day, you didn't die. 100 lives, okay? You're good.
See, now, if you told me you had got bit by a cobra when you was young, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to laugh at you. It's not a laughing matter.
That's because I would have been dead.
You know what the funniest part about this is when that happened, I was on my way to get a vasectomy. So, like, I didn't get to laugh it up for much longer after that.
No, you didn't. Got the little boys cut.
Yep, because I can't have no more kids. Well, yeah, that's what happened.
The balls
are still here. They just Bluetooth.
They spayed them.
That's a female dog.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, he got neutered.
I got neutered.
They sold it up. They sold up the pack.
They sold up the pack. They took it and folded it in half and sold it up. But anyway. But thank you again for coming on, Sony. We had a blast.
Sony, we appreciate you, Sony. Appreciate that. Seriously.
Anytime. And like I said, keep doing what you're doing, and I'll be watching. I do watch y'all most weeks. But
really? You've been watching that?
Huh?
We appreciate that.
You've been watching, huh?
Yeah, I do watch. I mean, I didn't even know about this till I talked to Ken and Matt, but after then, I think it was right around that time I started watching. So I've seen like 8 of them now, 8, 9 of them.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I do. I do listen to y'all. I watch.
Yeah, we
Well,
try to keep it lighthearted over here. You know,
You did.
we don't want to bore y'all.
well, Sony, listen, you got to come back. You got to come back and you got to tell us some more knowledge about, the olden times, as Peppa Pig
The
would
olden
say.
times. Okay.
Because yeah, I watch a lot of Peppa Pig with my daughter.
And you got to tell us
But yeah,
how to do this beard transition.
I'll get you.
he
I'll
cannot
send
tell
y'all
you that.
both
That's
a
just
brush.
natural.
Yeah, I'll send y'all both a brush and teach you how to comb them. All
I
right.
need that Indian sauce. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Get that. Get that.
I got
All
a
right.
question for you before you
Yeah.
leave, though.
Yeah.
Did you get to try Indian street food when you went to India?
Absolutely.
Is it delicious as it looks on Instagram?
Absolutely. But that you can get just as good food at any of the little hole in the wall Indian places anywhere. I've never. I'm trying to think in San Antonio, have I had Indian food? I don't think so, but I've had it pretty much everywhere else here in Texas, and you can get top quality Indian food everywhere.
Yeah.
Or,
Try to get my hands on some good
how
samosas.
about this? Next time I come to San Antonio, we'll get together with Ken and we'll either go out to a buffet or we'll make some Indian food. How about that if you like Indian food?
That's cool. I got a spot I go to on the other side of town called Biryani Pot. It's pretty good.
That sounds pretty good. So you're a biryani fan?
Yeah. So I grew up like being able to get different foods. Living in San Antonio is actually one of the places I lived in that they have less ethnic foods, and like
Absolutely. Yeah.
like most of the Indian places are like really next to each other. It's kind of weird how that worked out. They're all near the college, UTSA. But when I was living in Maryland, man, I used to eat a lot of Indian food because I used to get tired of like having to cook food, and if I go get food, I don't want to get fries. Like I want to get something that actually is well seasoned.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had a lot of Indian restaurants and Thai restaurants. So I used to go to those a lot.
Okay, so yeah, we'll figure it out next time I'm over there. And I know Chicago has lots of Indian food because y'all have got an huge Indian population there.
They
So
do. They got a lot of Indian food.
do you eat it?
Kino, you eat Indian food?
I never tried it. I had some samosas before,
Well,
Man,
then
you gotta.
but
well, you
I
need to
haven't had
go
the
have some.
full. I haven't had the full smear.
You should go have some Indian food. Go to some buffet at lunchtime and try a little bit of everything.
You gotta get some
All
goat
right.
sock wallow.
Yeah, I like any of the goat stuff personally, but a lot of people don't like it. So
I love goat.
I can do goat, chicken, all that. I mean, I'm good in all that. As long as it ain't pork, I'm pretty much with it.
I've
okay,
never had. I never had Indian food with pork in it. I don't think so.
I don't think they make pork.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. It just depends on where you're at, because I
Okay.
mean, it depends on like if you're in
I've
like
been
a
looking at a lot of Indian menus around me. I'm like a block from a place called Little India in Chicago, where it's like probably 12 straight blocks of it's all
and you
the whole
never
Indian neighborhood.
okay.
But I've never seen a menu with pork on there. I never.
There are we you. I'm trying to think. You're probably more right than wrong, as far as how they're gonna serve it. Um, I've had it more probably at homes and not at restaurants, so there may be something to that. I'll ask my mom
Okay.
because I don't know the reason there, but I will ask her. But
Okay.
well, yeah, y'all. Thanks for having me, and I hope y'all all have a great Merry Christmas.
You
You
too. Merry
too.
Christmas to
You
you,
too. You
Sony.
and the family.
Yeah.
Chris is gonna get
And
with you probably tomorrow, and
get
you're gonna
another
get something
clutch.
from
Get
us.
another clutch so we can talk
I'm
about that one.
working on it.
All
I'm
right.
working on it.
Well,
But
that's been us for the Chondro Bar Room tonight. Good night, y'all.
night.
Hey, for real. Happy holidays, y'all. Peace.